Okay, we're live, people. Well, I think YouTube has a 10-second delay on this.
Yeah, I've got the YouTube video open.
Yeah, so still nothing, still nothing. There
There
we
we
go.
go.
Cool. Okay. So, everyone, how many are we? 25 watching now. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Hey guys.
We're still missing one person. We're still missing Scott, but he will join pretty quickly. And we're just here to drink whiskey and talk tech.
I'm drinking whiskey water, hold the whiskey, because it's 11 a.m. where I am, and I can't really do that right now because I still got work to do. But nonetheless, I'm here.
Okay, so Eddy, which whiskey do you have? I saw you grabbing your shelf there before.
I have the Balvenie. It's a Caribbean cask, 14 years old. It seems, yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm a big whiskey fan, and before I actually worked in tech, I was working in gas stations, but I also worked in a liquor store, and our specialty there was whiskey. We had like the biggest selection in the whole state. Man, we got to try all kinds of stuff. What's going on, Scott? Welcome.
Hey guys.
What's up?
How you doing?
But
good.
Hey, Creative Hub. Hey, ProCode. Hey, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing support. Thanks for coming out. I see you, Tanvish. How you doing, man? Please answer my question that I posted in the Slack room. Let me check this out because this person's been asking me to answer this. I believe. Okay, I remember this question. So if you guys can weigh in, this person is trying to figure out what stack they need to be going for tech-wise. And right now, they know React and Redux. They know CSS. They know Node. They know MySQL and Postgres, but they've just started learning that. My advice, personally, is just to go for the MERN stack at this point. Just learn Mongo, and Express. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that sounds good. Like if you want to have like server-side rendering, maybe go Next.js. But yeah, that seems solid.
Yeah, you're halfway there.
Yeah, if you already know React, it's like a short step from there. If not, I would suggest the Vuno stack. No, it's a joke. Vue and Deno.
Yeah.
But no, don't do that. You won't get jobs with Deno yet.
Personally, I've only messed with Vue for a little bit just to get an idea of it. I think it is significantly easier than React, in my opinion. But I do think that there are not a ton of opportunities in there now. Maybe in the future, but right now, React for sure, at least in America, is like the leader in the framework. Yeah. And I learned Angular. I'm learning React now. The reason why I learned Angular was the companies I was focused on used Angular and Java. And I know Java, so React was a natural place to go. But I could totally see React being as popular as it is because it does a lot of stuff. It's way easier than Angular, like significantly easier. But it's definitely got the job potential right now in the market.
Yeah.
Angular is very much like an enterprise tool, isn't it? So there's a lot of places where that's the norm. Still is, still will be for a long time, I think. So it's still a great skill to have, and it's a complete framework as well. So you're not sort of mixing and matching stuff. If you if you need your data, it's already in the framework. There's not another sort of thing to bolt onto it. So definitely a good thing to have. And like what you're saying, Danny, if you're for the companies you were targeting, a lot of them, it's still relevant. Even if they are transitioning, they want someone who's got skills in that to go from one to the next. So it's still a good skill to have.
Yeah, I'm like I was saying earlier before we went on the live, I'm a very stubborn individual. So when I make up my mind for something, I can't take a substitute for it. So in my town in particular, C# is king. Like C# is everywhere. .NET, that's where most of the jobs are. But there's only like 10 companies that use Java. but they're the 10 companies I wanted to work for. So instead of learning C#, I learned Java, and I'm like, one of these 10 are going to choose me one way or another. Yeah. And that's exactly what I did. So don't do that unless you're like really focused, but I would say hedge your bets and go where the opportunities are. So, if your town uses C#, do that. And I always tell people, and I get asked this so much, like, what language should I learn? What language should I learn? Everyone says the same thing, learn what you want, which is a great way to approach something. But I think it's more important to search a job market around you and find out what they're using there. Because if you learn Node and there's 0 jobs in Node, you're going to be really upset in about 6 months when you start job searching. But, if you search your area and find out everyone's using C#, that's a natural way to go. And, that's going to be your best way to find out, where you can get a job, when you can get a paycheck and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's like exactly what I did as well. Just like went on Indeed or whatever, just checked out, all right, what are people actually hiring for in my area? All right, React. Then we're going React, that's just and like Svelte is super cool, but there's literally no one hiring for Svelte here. So like I picked up Svelte on the side for fun after I got a job with React. So you can always like learn what you want to do, but like if getting a job is a priority for you, then I would definitely just check out like, all right, what are companies hiring for? What do they want?
Yeah, definitely.
And one thing I just want to piggyback on that, I say this a lot. I'm a huge believer in everyone should learn how to program, at least even on a basic level, because one thing, in my opinion, in regards to programming, you're learning a very unique set of skills to attack problems that most industries don't have. And the way we break down problems is, instead of saying you need a website, what's weird is I have the live chat in front of me and I have like the YouTube video here just to make sure I can see everything.
Just compare it, whiskey.
So like out of nowhere, like Mark was just showing the bottom, but over here is like the whole screen. I saw the bottom. Anyway,
cheers, guys.
Cheers. I'll drink my water with you guys.
Great.
Yeah. What's the time? Where are you based, Danny? What's the time?
I'm out of Memphis, Tennessee, barbecue capital of the world. I always say, it's 11 a.m. here right now. And the cool thing about Memphis is I showed up to this town wearing a size medium shirt, and it's not medium anymore. Like, we'll put some weight on you real fast. Like, we'll make that happen real quickly. But yeah, I got to drink water because it's the middle of the workday for me. There's no way I'm going to finish anything if I pop some whiskey right now. Like, it's not going to happen.
Come on.
This is a really good question. How do you think looking for jobs as a fresher is going to be in the coming days? So what do you think the job market is going to look like for beginners or aspiring developers trying to break in? I can answer this at the end. I'll let you guys go first.
For people that just start programming, I think Node is still the way to go. Probably still React or Vue. I think they will be on par soon or anytime in the next few years. I think Vue is currently overlooked a lot. It has way more potential than people give it credit for. But I think if you want to learn one thing new and want to be quite sure that it will be used, learn Node for backend, because I don't see that going anywhere. Not even with Deno coming along. That's going to be like another 5 to 10 years until they reach each other's levels. But Node.
So what do you think the job market is going to look like for aspiring developers?
I mean, I think it's tough everywhere, really, because of the pandemic at the moment, isn't it? So there's obviously, I mean, in the US, was it 10% you were saying, Danny, today? 10% of the workforce lost?
So the stat that I currently am seeing is 42% of jobs that have been lost during coronavirus will not return. So yeah, it's that might be a very large number compared to what it really is. I believe it might be around 10, but I'm not, a job statistician to create these kinds of numbers. But I mean, no matter how we look at it, there's jobs that are lost that are not coming back.
Yeah, that's a worrying statistic, isn't it? Because I think I'm not sure if it was you who tweeted it, Mark, but a lot of the like the big four, the FANGs, all of their stock prices just rocketing at the moment. I work for a large consultancy firm, I work for a digital agency who are owned by a large consultancy firm, and I've never been busier myself because a lot of people, need stuff online, but I think a lot of the smaller guys are getting pushed out and just losing ground basically, and it's tough in that space. But if you find the company you want to work for, you just don't do like a spray and pray approach, and you're sort of thoughtful about who you are reaching out to, respectful of their time, and you sort of reach out to them with the sort of skills you have, and they're looking, then I think that's a good in, but it depends on what state the company's in, really. So it's tough. It's tough for everyone. I mean, how would you think about that, Mark or Eddie?
Well, right now
we're leaving Danny to the end for the big reveal.
Yeah, I have what I call a big ass mouth. So I'm gonna be talking. So I'd rather give everybody a chance.
All right. So my company is actually hiring right now in the Netherlands. Like, I know a few companies, I think, that are hiring right now still, and I'm not like checking that or anything. I just heard. So yeah, it kind of really depends on your area, of course, and like what sort of company do you want to work at? Like, I work at a startup, and like we are growing, and like we are hiring, of course. So yeah, but maybe like some companies with like I don't know, SaaS or whatever that aren't doing so great right now, of course, aren't hiring. But like, I guess what I'm trying to say is it really depends on where you live, of course, and also the type of company, and like how flexible do you want to be? Like, are you willing to like, all right, maybe this company isn't perfect for me, but like this whole coronavirus situation, like maybe I should just take the job. It's you gotta weigh the pros and cons, of course. Especially if you don't have a job right now, just like take any offer you can get if you're struggling to find a job, and then like maybe you'll end up loving it, but maybe you won't, and then there's like still plenty of time to just learn there on the job, and then just look for something else. It's like you can go any route, really.
Yeah, I think in our industry, especially in our industry, many jobs will eventually come back, because this is something that's not declining in demand. The loss of jobs is like based to this pandemic, right? But the demand is still there. So if the economy grows again, I think there will be a rush on, or a higher demand on developers. I hope.
So let me preface this with saying, last year I helped 44 people land their first jobs in tech. This year I was on track to beat that number. And I just I don't make money from it. I just really enjoy helping people reach their dream jobs. And I got kind of addicted to it to a degree. But I can tell you in February, so this year I helped, 22 people land their first jobs. And I can tell you in February, I helped 12 people alone get a job. I can tell you last month, I got 0 people in for an interview. So there are many companies still hiring. I know many companies that are still hiring, but there are a ton that are on hiring freezes right now. And it's because they don't know what's happening. They don't know the uncertainty. Luckily for me and my company, like our work has like doubled. Like we are in a very safe place. Our stock price has gone up. We're great. But I know plenty of companies, and I know several developers with a ton of experience that have lost their jobs. And it's because it depends on the industry you're in. If you're in a customer-focused industry that depends on those customers spending money right now, you may be hurt. For my industry, we're in the home warranty protection area. Everyone that lost their jobs bought warranties right away because they're afraid if something breaks, how are they going to be able to afford that? What can they do to offset that? So for us, we cover everything inside your home. So if your air conditioning breaks, that might cost you $2,000, or if you have our home warranty, it's $40. So people that lost their jobs, they were picking that up for that reason. So I'm very curious to see how the job market's going to be. I do think it will be tough, especially for aspiring developers, for one main reason. We have many developers with experience that are in the same position as you are. So if you want to look for a job, I have one rule when it comes to looking for a job, and that doesn't matter what level you're on. You need to be so undeniably good that they can't say no. Simple as that. You need to be so undeniably good that they're like, I wish I could turn him down, but he's fantastic. I wish I could turn her down, but she's phenomenal. Be so undeniably good that if you have a difficult name, they're going to look at it like, how do I say that person's name? But after that interview, they're going to start practicing and learning that person's name. Be that damn good, and you will get a job.
I will cut out this part of the video and put it on a motivational website or something.
Yeah. So there's a good question in here from Prihi about what's your take on learning PHP in 2020? Personally, I've got I would say zero experience with PHP, but I have actually worked on some of the legacy stuff, like some of the legacy WordPress sites where my current employer. So it's the most developer answer ever. It depends. I mean, Eddy, Mark, Danny, do you guys do PHP?
I don't.
I think Laravel is the next sort of iteration on PHP,
Yeah.
and apparently it's a real. Is it a framework? I guess it's a framework. Yeah, apparently it's very good, but with regards to knowing PHP, I mean, it depends on the situation. If you want to target yourself towards places which are using WordPress, then absolutely, it's a good skill to have. Yeah. Personally, I didn't invest a great deal of time in learning it because I was more focused on the sort of Node and React side of things. So it got just a sort of I read the glossary on it, and that's about it really for me. So, but it's extremely popular still. So why not? There's still plenty of places that would need it. Because I don't have any mention of it on my LinkedIn or anything like that, I'm not contacted about it. So I can't really talk about the the job market for it, but I do know it's still a very popular technology. I mean, it's WordPress, so all the stuff which WordPress runs on, WordPress is still a good, 25%, 30% of the of all the websites out there. So it's
probably more.
It's quite popular. Yeah.
So
I think the only reason why PHP is still around is because of WordPress, and now Laravel, but there's not much else going on, especially new developments.
We actually have quite a few PHP devs at our job, my workplace, for various backend services. We actually hired a few PHP developers recently, and of course, like you guys mentioned, WordPress is king for PHP, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if you want to learn PHP, or if you really like PHP, I've used PHP in the past, first year of my college was pretty much all PHP as far as like backend goes. But like with WordPress, you can go like all out. You can freelance, you can make people websites, you can build plugins and sell them. You can go all out with PHP. Like PHP is like, many people say PHP is dead or whatever. They're so wrong. They're so wrong. Like if you want to make, of course, Node. I love Node. I love JavaScript, but like if you want to do PHP, do PHP. There's plenty of jobs. There's plenty of like money to be made if that's what you want.
Absolutely, yeah.
Go PHP if you want to do PHP. That's like all I can say. You can do so much with it.
I'll chime this in. And so on Twitter, especially on Twitter, and please don't get sucked into these bubbles like just following these social media people and taking their word as the Bible or like some highly level of God is saying this, because they get stuck in their own little world and they don't think outside of it. PHP is not going fucking anywhere, and I'll tell you exactly why. There is no major company that moves fast. Every big company moves very, very slow at migrating to other languages. And especially when there's a large company and they have their entire backend built on PHP, there's zero chances that they're moving off of that anytime soon. I can tell you there is an incredible amount of companies that still use PHP. There will continue to be an incredible amount of companies to use PHP. Are there languages that might be better? Sure, that's developer's choice. Business-wise, they're not going off of it anytime soon. It's going to be a long time. I mean, Facebook uses a considerable amount of PHP, and they even created React. So that just goes to show you, like, they're not transitioning anytime soon. I doubt anybody will be. So it's very safe to learn PHP now. I definitely think there will still be opportunities in it, regardless of whatever the Twitter gods say. And that's another thing. Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
It's the same for Angular. It's the same for Angular. It's the same for that's not going away anytime soon, because, like what you're saying, Danny, enterprise use it, and enterprise, they don't move fast. They so there's and there's a reason for that, because if they break stuff, then there's a lot of people who are going to be angry and cross that stuff doesn't work. So this stuff needs to be really planned out, and it's going to be there for a while. There's still, I mean, PHP's not dead. Sorry, not PHP. Angular's not dead. It's definitely not dead.
Here's the best example I can give to prove this. There are still companies that use COBOL. So they were just hiring for developers not too long ago.
Did you say
COBOL?
Yeah.
It's still
Did
alive.
You see
COBOL?
The Stack Overflow survey? Did you see the Stack Overflow survey? How much a COBOL developer gets? That is crazy money. Like,
how much?
You've got this grid, like this graph of like all these skills, and it's like curving like this, and it's got COBOL. It's like it's like miles away.
There
like
were job listings. There were jobs in my state for COBOL developers, and they needed them bad for the government agencies. They were paying $750 a day.
This is the thing. It's about a niche. It's about a niche as well. So you don't have to be, the best at all these things. I mean, someone was asking Danny to like define what was it? Define. They can't sort of deny you, but there's been like having a broad range of skills on a lot of things, or there's been a specialist in a certain area. So a lot of people say specializations for ants. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a polyglot. I do like things which I need to do. Just in time learning is what I do. So if there's something which needs to be done and I'm not skilled with it, then I learn about that at the time. But there are things to specialize in, like people who do SVG. That's a whole nother world of skill sets to get into. So there's just certain niches as well where, like we're talking about COBOL, if you're in it and you're good at it, then people are going to pay you for it. What's that Batman clip with the Joker in it? If you're good at it, get people to pay you for it. So don't spread yourself too thin is what I'm trying to say. and just get good at learning. Just get good at learning, get good at unlearning, and get good at learning again, because there's a lot of that happening.
So there is one question I want to ask, because one of my followers asked this, and I think they got to sign off soon. So they asked how to LinkedIn. Second part of the question is,
how to
internships at smaller tech companies worth it if I know I can get them for sure? And then how to get started in TensorFlow. You guys want to start before I do? TensorFlow, right. I don't know anything about, so that's not the one.
Me neither.
So how to LinkedIn? Yeah, me neither. Sorry, TensorFlow. I don't do anything in Python, so sorry. I've done some stuff with Dialogflow for like a chatbot, but nothing with TensorFlow. Yeah, sorry. But for how to LinkedIn, depends on what you mean. So I guess it's about having a presence in not just LinkedIn and Twitter. I think Sean Wang did a good post on it about how to sort of raise your profile in a lot of different places, and there's strategies for it. Make sure that you've got the same profile picture across all these places so people know it's you. Be consistent. That's what you can say about a lot of things in life. Just show up. Interact with people. Don't just spam links. Go out, find people. There are quite a lot of several people I know from LinkedIn who I've sort of connected with and have had sort of intros to people in engineering departments to talk to, from just merely me just doing a LinkedIn search and reaching out to people who've got the same interests as me. So for, I mean, it's a bit of an open-ended question, how to LinkedIn.
Well,
I mean, it's the same with a lot of things.
I
But
can add to that.
Yeah?
Go ahead.
So I have actually pretty much gotten my current job through LinkedIn. So the way that I went about that, thanks, is like, I'm sure Danny can attest to this, but meetups, right? So on my last job, I just started like going to meetups just for fun, because my dev team was pretty small, so I wanted to get like outside of my bubble, and see what everyone else was doing, because it was also my first job. And so I ended up just, all right, I'm just going to this meetup, not necessarily just to like, I'm just having fun, I'm just hanging out, and then people just, all right, what's your LinkedIn? All right, let me just add you. And then in like maybe a year of meetups, I've added over like 100 developers on Meetup. On LinkedIn. And then, at some point, I'm like, all right, I've learned enough at my current job. There's some like things that I want to change in my life. I'm gonna look for a different job. So even like I was at this point where it's just like, all right, I'm completely done with my current job. I don't recommend you ever doing this, but I quit before I had a next job lined up. So it was like at that point, I was done. So what I did was I just posted on LinkedIn, all right, I'm open, come at me. This is your opportunity of your lifetime. Hire me. So I'm actually, because I met so many people on meetups and like I connected with them, I got like 3 to 4 or 5, maybe more opportunities for an interview just because of that. I talked to people at meetups, connected with them. I showed them like how passionate I was when I was talking with them, and then just sort of happened. And then I of course gained some visibility because people like started sharing my post, and then I got in contact with a recruiter, and she helped me get my current job. So what I would like advise you to do on LinkedIn is just have a professional picture, and all that. Just have your like profile professionally, like put on like all your skills, because that's like how it works. You have like these recruiters searching for like keywords, so make sure you have your React if you want to do that in your skills section, and maybe like mention it if you've worked with it at a job or whatever. Just make sure your profile is good. But like as far as like LinkedIn goes, just try to connect with people, because that's really like what LinkedIn is for, of course. But it's also how you get jobs, because like the job that I got, there wasn't even like a post on Indeed for it. It was just not online. The only way you could find out about it is through a connection. So like just go to meetups, meet people, talk to people, have some fun, get some free food as well, because meetups, well, not at this time of course, but just connect with people, and that will like help you get a job, and it will help you for the rest of your life if you just connect with people. It's the best thing you can do for your career, honestly, besides getting good at coding, of course.
All right, I'm going to chime in with LinkedIn because that's kind of like my powerhouse. That's what I do. So I'm going to share my screen over here. Let's see. Share screen. And I'm going to share this screen. Does everybody see my screen here?
Yeah.
There we go. I see it. So LinkedIn is without a doubt the most powerful tool you can ever have when it comes to looking for a job. I helped 44 people land a job in tech. Every single one of them literally landed a job off of LinkedIn. Not a single person landed it through any other tool. The people that I helped this year, exact same thing as well. LinkedIn can help you skip the application process if you do it right. So for me, I don't want people to keep mindlessly applying to jobs where the ATS software, which is the automated checking software that most companies use, will throw that application out. It's easier if you make connections on LinkedIn with the hiring managers, because here's a couple stats for you and why I love LinkedIn. 41% of all the billionaires and millionaires in the world utilize LinkedIn on a regular basis. 90 million users on LinkedIn are hiring managers, decision makers, and upper management for companies. So why wouldn't you want to be popular where these people are? Why wouldn't you want to be popular in their playground? So to cover the things that you need in your profile, first, of course, you got to have a professional photo. You don't even need a photographer to take this. You just need a photo on there to show that you know how to conduct yourself in a professional setting. Almost think of it like a baseball card. Like, it gives you that idea that that player means business. Well, you mean business because this is your business. So you can take a photo even with a phone and just put it in that area with that ring. It's going to make it look great. I put a generic background, but you can put whatever you want on there, which is fine. So you can do anything. And I've got a couple profiles of people that I love here that I'm going to click on as well. So here's where you add your tagline of what you do. This is what I call the initial hook. Like, how do we grab their attention right away? And so you're going to want to put that information there. Now, on average, the average amount of time someone spends before deciding to read more of your resume and your profile is 6 seconds. So we have 6 seconds to make an impression very quickly. So you don't want your about to be long. You want that short, and you want the first 3 things on your featured section to be bright, visible, and catch attention. So here, this is when I gave my talk at Google. So I have these images here. I have my post where it shows that I wake up at 4 a.m. to code. And the reason why I have that there is to help demonstrate my passion for tech. Because I always say, if you have 2 candidates for the same position and one is passionate, that person will outbeat the other person 10 times out of 10. So I use this photo because it's bright. It catches you, shows me speaking. It has this photo right here of when I'm coding. And then I have this one right here that shows when I spoke to a room full of prisoners learning how to code. So the first 3 things are going to be the first 3 visible things. Those you want to maximize the impact. This is about the section where people, sorry, I clicked on that. People will decide whether or not they want to continue. So then you have your views, that's your dashboard thing, and I just made a post. But you have your activity. You want to try to always leave your activity on things that you've been recently on. So then you'll have your experience. So that's my job. I'm now a STEM board member for our school system. So I volunteer there, helping produce curriculum for there. Then I have my meetup group, and my old job. Then I have education. Then you could put certificates there. I always say certs don't really matter in the grand scheme of things because they're not worth anything. But at the same time, too, can't hurt. So, I mean, might as well throw it there. Then I always say have some volunteer experience. And the reason why I say that is you're helping your community one way or another, right? So why wouldn't you want to help your community in the best way possible? And then at the same time, you can show that you're doing something for that. So if you don't have volunteer experience, go volunteer. Go be a positive impact in your community one way or another, because you're only helping someone. Even if it's like you're helping someone and you can add that, but you're helping someone, so do it. Don't be a bad word that I could have said right there. That I'm trying to keep this family friendly, right? Then also reach out to people have them endorse you for things that they know that you're capable of. Like, do you know how to make a website? If so, I should have muted my Slack. Hold on 1 second.
Danny, come on.
Yeah. So it's the middle of the workday. Everybody's talking. What do you want? So you want people to endorse you for the things that you know. And I will honestly say your top 3 things are going to be the things people click on. Because if you go to the things that I know I'm capable of and my coworkers know I'm capable of, like Java, for example, I have like 1 person that endorsed it. But I've got like 20 people that endorse me for management, 26 that endorse me for front end, even though I mainly work in back. So, I mean, your top 3 things are going to be what people click on. Then I always say, make sure you ask people that you know, that you've worked with, that you've definitely highlighted things for, have them leave a review for you, because it doesn't take them any time to do it, but those reviews really go a long way in showing what you're capable of and what people, and of course, I always say, when you tout your own accomplishments, no one really cares about that, because it almost seems like you're self-centered, you're going for your own goals.
You need to do it. You need to do it.
Well, I always say it's always louder when someone says it for you. So if someone's amplifying that for you, it goes a lot longer than something else like that. So have that there. And I just want to click on these profiles. There are 2 people that I definitely admire, and they're in my local community. So this is Lawrence Lockhart. He's someone I mention quite often. He made his transition into tech at 49. He was he worked at a burger restaurant and he flipped burgers. And now he's a software engineer for a huge company in town. But this is his little profile right here. He's optimizing Spring Boot microservices. Same thing with his featured, same 3 sections. That's him graduating from boot camp. That's some of the impact he does. He's a local leader for a meetup, so he keeps that activity there. And so he has this little experience there from when he worked at this company, now for FedEx, which is a global giant, and their global headquarters is here. So he does that. And same things here. He goes through those same ideas. He's volunteered at code.org. He's volunteered with this group, Black Girls Code, which we've all volunteered for, and I'm a huge believer in. Then you have your same endorsements and your reviews. JC Smiley, love this guy. I've been knowing him now for a little over 2 years. Same things with him. He shows how he leads his group. He volunteers with a ton of groups to make sure that he provides resources to developers in need. And you go through the same thing, highlight his highlights and his featured section. He actually created a freelancing project with a company that is a car museum. So he literally made this application in React Native and did that. And then, of course, his third item is a meetup that I was also at as well. I used to help lead with this group. So great. And I hope this gives you ideas on what you can go forward with on your profile. So I'll stop my screen share there. And I hope that set everybody up for a good situation.
Can I just mention Austin Belshak? I think the guy's name is. He's I think he's done a post on Free Code Camp. Maybe I should have been looking this up before talking about it. But this guy has done a load of good information on how to LinkedIn, basically. So it's really good. Just let me find the link, and he's got a ton of resources for how to LinkedIn basically. So I'll leave this. I'll let you guys carry on talking. I'm just going to find this link and post it in the chat.
I hope that demo helped, by the way, because I know it spoke for a good minute, but I think it should have.
It doesn't sound like you, Danny. Someone to speak for a good minute.
Well, it's because the other thing too is like I get these questions all the time, so I wanted to kind of put it on video so that I can say, just come check out this YouTube video, and you can use it as a reference.
Yeah,
because I literally get that almost daily. Daniel says, great explanation on LinkedIn. Thank you. Glad. Hey, Jay. And in case you ever want to learn anything about Java, CSS, Jay is the guy to talk to, because that dude will take a picture of a water glass and turn it into a cancer-saving medication somehow. Like, I mean, he does crazy stuff with CSS I've never seen before. So definitely check that out.
The link for Austin, I've just posted his free CodeCamp profile in the chat. That guy, there's just a ton of resources. So if you're, if you want to get shape up your LinkedIn game, then just check out his material. There's a ton of it. I mean, a metric ton. So good luck, because he's like a vampire. So once you let him in, that's it. You just get bombarded with all this information from him, which is good. Yeah, just be prepared.
All right. So, would learning React be easier if you were a Node master? Let's go ahead with that. We got so many questions in this chat. I just want to try and knock out some of them.
Oh, sorry, Danny. Someone asked about Spring Boot, and I think you're the only person who's qualified to talk about that amongst us. So, I think it was the questions you reeled off at the beginning for the person who had to sign off. He was also asked about Spring Boot. So I'd like to know a bit more about it as well.
Okay, let me find that question. It was on Twitter, wasn't it? I remember that question.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember exactly what he asked. Hold on, let me pull that question up.
Okay, well let's just move on to the next question while you look for that, which was Node and React. So apologies up front. It's just JavaScript, but it's not. So Node is more scripting, and React is more making HTML tags out of JavaScript. It's my really bad way of phrasing it. But I think if you know JavaScript, then you're gonna know React. But just get JSX is just a way to have HTML in your JavaScript. So if you're very good at Node, and then someone asks you to do some front end stuff, then I think you wouldn't have any trouble picking it up. Is what I'll say to that. Yeah,
I totally agree. Like, I work with React pretty much every day, at my work at least. And like, if you're good at Node, if you're good at JavaScript, all you really gotta learn is React. And React is it's just a library, not a framework. There's a semantical difference, but I'm not gonna get into that. But it basically means the API is a bit smaller than maybe Angular or whatever. So all you really got to learn is the basics of React. Of course, hooks is a bit different than maybe your the programming paradigms that you're used to. But the documentation, you can go through that, most of it at least in a day, and then you'll be familiar with React. You're good to go. You're there. You can start building the next Facebook for all I know. Of course, you'll learn some stuff along the way, and then not everything might make sense at first. But React, like any framework, if you're good at the fundamentals of JavaScript, many people don't want to hear it, but if you're good at fundamentals, then you can pick up one of these frameworks pretty easily. even if you're mainly doing backend and then jumping in the front end. If it's JavaScript and you're familiar with JavaScript, then you can make sense of it. Then you can start learning React, Vue, whatever, any framework for that matter. You can even jump into the source code if you're confused. So if you're really good at JavaScript, you can take a look at how these things are built, make sense of it, and then build your own like cool SaaS or maybe any project. Really, it's you can do anything with it.
That's what makes code so awesome! Yay! So Jay, it's nearly all gone, mate. Jay, that's for you, buddy. It's nearly all gone, mate. So
the Nika from the barrel.
Yeah,
I actually finished the bottle.
I never used to drink that stuff. I never used to drink whiskey until someone introduced me to this a couple of years ago now, and I'm a whiskey drinker now. So yeah.
Because my girlfriend, she like every time I drink whiskey, and every time I get a new one, I let her try it. And that's actually like the Nika from the barrel. That one is the first one she actually liked. So there you go.
Yeah, I've never liked it ever. Anytime everyone's ever gone, oh, this is a 15-year-old oak cask, sort of, all this sort of stuff, and you try it and it just burns your throat, and you're like, no, absolutely not. So, and that's the first time I've tried something and I've liked it. So, this is just as a segue here. This is how Mark and I started doing this, was because I think I just posted a picture of this one day and Mike's like, I would really like to have a glass of that with you one day. So that's how this sort of started. And here we are. Mark's just been sat there quietly enjoying his whiskey all this time. And while the three of us have been going through all these questions. So, I've been finding it okay. There's a question from someone called Kendall Kelly, asking if it's possible to get deployed as a developer. I think he means employed. Saying 18 years old, about to attend college, and I've been coding for 6 to 10 hours a day. Has been coding for over a year. So, oh wow, where's that come from?
Mark just raised the level of this chat.
Whoa.
He did.
Check it out.
And I love how all of Scott's face is gone. Like,
yes. just my nose hanging over the notification here.
Sorry, man. I'll take it away in a second.
Absolutely, it's possible. I think this goes to answer a couple of the questions earlier about internships as well. If you need the money, then you need the money, so you should go for a paying job. But if you can get an internship and get that experience, then absolutely do it. But you've been coding for over a year. If you've got a good portfolio, you've got a lot of projects to show for the time you've been putting in, then absolutely do that. I'm sure anyone who would be viewing your profile would see that and appreciate that as well. So absolutely, anything's possible. Like Danny said earlier. Danny's busy reading Slack.
I'll go ahead and answer that. And I also want to answer that Spring Boot question because I've got it. But I will say anything is absolutely possible. I would also like to err on the side of caution and saying it may be slightly unlikely, though, that they would want to consider you so young. It's not impossible, but I mean, when you're 18 and you still have the potential of going to college, I will never be one to say, don't go to college. I will also say it is completely possible to achieve this without it. It probably is a little bit harder, but it's absolutely possible. But if you're 18 and you're about to go to college, why deny that? Go get that experience because that degree can help in some way or another. So obviously I say this as a non-college grad. So, it's kind of I don't know, like almost.
It's a life experience. It would be a life experience as well. So getting away from your parents, living by yourself or with your what's a colleague? What do you call your fellow college mates when you're in college? Because I haven't been to college either, so I wouldn't know that. It would be, just the experience of being with these other people. Then it's good life experience. So doing your own washing, making your own food. I mean, it might sound really humdrum and boring, but that's life.
I mean, yeah, I don't even think as far as because I can't justify the price tag for something like the college experience. But what I can say is that you would gain resources and learning material that you wouldn't gain any other place. So, and the other thing too is if you go to apply for jobs right now and people are like, oh, you're 18, why aren't you going to college instead of getting a job? That may be a hurdle, especially because this is considered an academic field. So this isn't for the average person that hasn't put time into studying. So just keep that in mind as well. That may be a hurdle that you run into over and over again at your age applying for it. Now, with that said, I will say, and I wasn't thinking about this earlier, just popped in my head now. There's a guy in my town. His name is Andrew Ursher. And I joke around, and the reason why I had to think about his name is because I always, whenever I see him, I go, my inspiration, because this dude was 19 years old, literally came off of freecodecamp.org, no degree, no nothing, and he landed a dream job at one of the biggest companies in our town. So that is why I call him that. But he literally got into that job only knowing HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and SQL. That's it. So
that's all he needs. That is all he needs. Really?
Oh, so, honestly, yeah. And I mean, he's been there now for almost 2 years and still killing it. So it's definitely possible. And I didn't think about him when you asked that question, but it's definitely possible. But even he says it's hard for a lot of people to do the same thing that he did. But like I said before, he was just so damn undeniably good, they couldn't turn him down.
Can I just say this as well? There are a lot of success stories about, oh, hey, I did Free Code Camp and did the whole curriculum and I was employed 3 months later. I mean, like what Danny's saying, that is very much the exception. And, good luck. Well done. That is awesome. But just another thing as well is try not to compare yourself to your peers. It's about what you are doing at that time and what you can do. So it's where am I going with this? It's totally lost my train of thought.
The whiskey started taking
what I'm
over.
saying is that, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't. This is the thing. You don't have to be, expert in all these different fields. Just be good and consistent at what the three things: JavaScript, HTML, CSS for front end, and that's a good starting point. If you absolutely have to get into tech as soon as possible, there are a lot of places that will be looking for those skills. And to make yourself undeniably good, just make sure you've got a good portfolio and the things like Danny was talking about earlier, which would be good LinkedIn profile, good networking. I mean, you can't say that for everyone, and it's tough for some people, but they are surefire ways to help you along the way. And I wouldn't say it's true, tried and tested. So for me, thankfully, I was reskilling from I was like a business analyst who knew like VBA, so I was good with Excel, so I could program. But for me, it was very much networking, and for my current job, it was a very good recruiter email who. It wasn't the standard, 6 lines you see for, like empty platitudes and then get into the job description. It was someone who had actually read my profile, understood what I needed, was looking for, and had a good role which matched. So it's luck. It's a numbers game. But at the same time, you just need to be consistent and good at what you're what you're doing at the time.
To piggyback off of that, and it's going to answer one question real fast as well. I have 4 things that I always tell people that you need if you want to find a job in tech. And this is tried and true for me and in my experience. It may be different for your area, but I highly doubt it. And the very first is good LinkedIn profile. You have to have it. That's where the recruiters are. That's where the hiring managers are. You need to be there. The second is a very good portfolio site. It does not need to be over-engineered in a language. The portfolio site that I used to get hired was honestly just HTML and CSS. And here's the thing with this, it needs to be somewhat aesthetically pleasing, because majority of hiring managers and recruiters have zero tech knowledge. So they're going off of what they see as opposed to the code itself. So if they go onto your portfolio site, and I always say your portfolio site in tech is your business card in tech. This is what people are going to get their impression of you off of. So when they go to the site, they need to be like, oh, this person knows a thing or two because it does like a little CSS animation, or it looks very clean, whatever it may be. So make sure the portfolio site is aesthetically pleasing. Now, the third thing is your portfolio items, your side projects. This is where you're demonstrating your expertise and your knowledge of the languages that you're trying to get hired on. This is where, after the hiring manager looks at it, this is where the manager is going to look to see your level of language expertise. So you want your projects to be there. And one project that I always say you need to have, especially as an aspiring developer, that you want to kind of wow your employers off of, and this is answering your Matt question.
Is it FizzBuzz?
It's not even FizzBuzz. Fuck.
Oh, man, come on.
It's an e-commerce website, and the example I always give is something similar to Overstock.com. I've never even shopped on Overstock.com, but you need to have it's a furniture website, but you need to have something where you have multiple products in multiple categories on multiple pages, and you need to have a shopping cart function. Now, it doesn't need to be fully functional, like no one's entering the card details to make a purchase, but they just need to see that if they click on something, it's going to go into this cart area showing the items that they selected. If you can have that, and this is not it's not a small project, this is a big project, but if you have that one project alone will demonstrate your expertise to be hireable. And it's going to obviously cover like your databases, your multiple products and all that. So you're covering a lot with that project, and that will be your thing that needs to like get you into the front door. And the last thing you need is a resume, because I mean, obviously they're not looking at your good looks to get you in there. They need to see what you've done, as I would say, where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. And your resume is a great way to translate that. So those 4 things will get you in the door.
Yeah. Just like to add to that about like the whole college thing or not, free code camp, whatever, it all comes down to like how much effort are you putting in? How much are you learning? How much are you doing? How many projects? Well, what like not specifically the quantity of like how many projects are you doing, but like how much effort are you putting in is pretty much what it comes down to. At my first internship, I like before I went there, I was going to college. My degree is like one level below a bachelor's, and I only had 1 year of college behind me, and I was working with these people with like 2 or 3 years experience at like a bachelor's level, but I'm gonna just recommend Free Code Camp here because they are honestly great. I did some Free Code Camp next to my college in my first year, and like I don't mean to speak like little or bad about the other like interns, but like those other interns with like 2 or 3 years more experience than I had, I was teaching them how to code, not the other way around. They think about this, they had 2 to 3 times more experience and time with coding than I had. But I'm not trying to brag here, but like just because just because if you put in the effort, if you put in the hours, if you actually code and do your projects, do your like algorithm challenges or whatever, just thinking about code, solving problems, doing things, that actually translates. Even like the actual free content, like Free Code Camp, can get you pretty far. Like, it's.
I mean, that was everything for me.
Yeah. Can I just say, if it wasn't for Free Code Camp, I probably wouldn't have the job I've got now. I wouldn't be where I am now. And Free Code Camp and 100 Days of Code, those two things. I mean, 100 Days of Code alone, that sort of challenge as it was just getting that consistency. And without that, I don't know, I'd probably be going back to what I was doing before.
Oh yeah, I'd still be frying chicken in a gas station if it wasn't for Free Code Camp. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally exactly
Thank you,
where
Quincy.
I'm here now.
Thank you, Quincy. Yeah,
That's why I love Quincy. Like, you know, I'll always recommend it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I want to weigh in again in the college thing. I went 5 years to university, bachelor's and master's, and nothing that apparently, on the first look, like nothing that I learned there is what I do now. Like the best thing in coding I learned there is like some Java web thing. I don't even remember how was it called, but but in college, those 5 years, I kind of feel that they taught me how to think in a different way. Like little by little, they teach you how to learn and how to figure stuff out, something that you would have to figure out by yourself, like else, or I don't know, like beside that, like it was an awesome experience being in college. Like as you said, like doing your own laundry, like cooking your own
life experience,
food, like going to drink every day of the week or not. But
let me ask you that: like, is that really college or is that just adulthood? Like, you would get that same experience being on your own.
Yeah, but your parents get to get rid of you that little bit earlier before you do that. Because if you didn't go to college, your parents would be like, "Oh, I got them in this house, not earning me any money, not paying rent. What are you doing here?" I mean, with my daughter, that'd be fine. But you would be like, "So what are you doing with your life?" You know, that's what my parents always say to me. What are you doing with your life? You working? You getting money? You give me any money? You're not. So I think that's a good sort of entry into it, which will give you that. I mean, I can't say that for as an authority because I haven't been to college. So sorry.
I had to move out when I was young. I moved out at 18. But
yeah, 17 was when I moved out. So yeah.
But I didn't mean to cut you off, Mark. I just was curious on that point. I'm sorry.
Where were we? Oh yeah, with the.
I don't know. I forgot Mark was talking.
The thing is, when you're in college, when you're like still young, you can pretty much do whatever the fuck you want. Sorry for language. You can do whatever you want. You have like little to no risks. Or at least that's how I perceived it. Like when you go to the US, college in the US, I think it's a little bit different because you will have a huge debt on your shoulders. Also, I don't know in which other countries that's the case. I think also in the UK.
The UK, yeah.
But I think in total I paid like €1,000 for my 5 years of college.
I wish.
Wow.
The last few years were basically free. Like I just had to pay like €25 of a student fee. It was kind of an insurance thing. And the rest at the end, it was completely free. At the beginning, they had like a semester fee of €300 maybe.
Wow.
And but
I think like a cheap college education in the UK is about 35k.
Wow.
So £1,000, Yeah, 1,000 euros at the time, was it, Mark?
If it was 300 euros or $300 to go, I'd be like, yeah, go, dude. Like, it's so cheap.
Do it.
Yeah,
Do it
I don't
3
know.
times
That
over.
was in Austria, and I don't know how is it there now. I know that in Germany it's also pretty cheap. I think like 500 per semester, plus a little inscription fee. But you won't have a debt when you come out of there. It's probably cheaper to move to Germany or Austria and get your education and go back.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
But that's why I say with caution, like you don't have risks, because if you piss away your 5 years or 3 years, you still have the debt, but you will learn something. Like I wasn't the best student. I was like a little above average. I went to the parties, I went out, I went to drinking, but I also stayed until 12 a.m. to code with my friends in the university, to do the homeworks. So it's a little bit like both of that. But again, as all of you mentioned, I think it's not necessary to go to college, but in order to code. But I think it's a great way to get some, I don't know, this kind of how to think as a programmer. I don't know how to explain it very well, like that kind of how to think in the structures. I think I learned that from college mostly than from other things. But
Caitlin's saying he paid 50k for a uni degree. 50k.
Yeah, he's just showing off. He's got money, you know.
Can you guys not hear me? Because
I can hear you, Eddy. Yeah.
He just saw the mute icon.
Oh yeah, Stefan said that the fee is still the same. Like he strangely, he lives in the same little town where I studied, and we never met. Like there's like 50,000 people or less in that town, and we just met on Twitter. So it's still free there. So
Manish asked the question, and I'm not prepared to answer this, but maybe you guys are. What would be the way you prepare for a front-end interview? What holds more importance, good algorithm, data structure knowledge, or technical proficiency? And as a front-end dev, which design pattern is more useful to learn?
I can speak a little bit about that, because like during my last job search, I didn't really. I guess it kind of really depends on where you live, because where I am at, like algorithm stuff wasn't really important. But like at this one interview, they actually asked me like, all right, because it was front end, like how would you create a nav bar with like these requirements, right? So like HTML, like the markup, is it accessible? How are you gonna use Flexbox, whatever? But like for these other interviews, they gave me mostly take-home projects. So, like for Fang, you know, those big companies like Google, they might like have you type an algorithm in Google Docs or whatever. But like for most companies, at least where I applied, they weren't doing like the whiteboard thing. But let me just say this, just like maybe companies in your area don't do that. It still doesn't hurt, because it actually trains you to do these like coding problems more efficiently, because you're maybe using or looking up these JavaScript array methods that you pretty much only use once a month, but now you're using them on the regular, you know. So you have those fresh in your mind when they ask you questions about it, when you need to solve a problem with it. If you maybe they're doing a call with you during your take-home project, could be, right? So maybe they're watching you code the take-home thing.
man.
if you're prepared, if you're using these techniques on a regular basis, then it can help you like finish the take-home project. Even if they're not watching you, you can finish it quicker, so you can get more like applications out the door. It's just it never hurts to do like these algorithm challenges, but not every job will give you like the stereotypical whiteboard problem, like here's FizzBuzz, right? So for me, they gave me like for my current job, they gave me a pretty relevant take-home project, which is pretty much in line with like some of the stuff that we do, but not every job will be like that. Not every interview will be like that. But
yeah, I've had interviews where you get asked the obscure sort of JavaScript question, and you have the interviewer sitting opposite you, like some adversary, like, yes, I've beaten you with this question. And this is what I'm dead against about this sort of thing in hiring. It's not, trying to catch someone out. You're not trying to, you want to know where their skills are, but you don't want to be asking sort of questions. Well, Danny twitched. I triggered you, Danny. What's
oh, there you go.
It's more about asking people, what they like doing, what their passions are, what they find interesting about web development. Those sort of questions, rather than just knock up some FizzBuzz for me. So I mean, I can recall two. One where I was asked to whiteboard like an array map on the board, and the guy went, "Oh, the syntax is wrong." And I'm like, "It's a whiteboard. Does it matter?" It's like you missed a bracket, and I'm like, "Seriously." And what would another one be? One where I just clearly missed like an async await function, and the interviewer clearly said to me, "It's an asynchronous call," but just because you're in the situation and there's a lot of pressure on you, you just totally forget that sort of thing. So I don't think those sort of things are a good judge on how well someone would do a job. Danny's building up a load of questions here. Look, he's taking notes.
I got to say on this. This is a subject I talk about a lot. Like,
yeah, I feel strongly about it. I don't really think a technical interview, asking people tricky questions, trying to catch someone out, I don't think that is the right way to go around interviewing someone. I think it was Mark who posted. Was it you, Mark, who posted about just being able to communicate things clearly to people?
Yeah.
It's on how you're going to do something, rather than being able to technically do something, like recite it. Like, if you're going for a FANG job, that sort of thing's expected now. This whole like genres of books created out of it, which is cool if you want to work for FANG, but at the same time, it's something which I don't really think's very relevant. I don't think it's a good gauge of how well someone could do that role. What Eddy was saying about take-home tests, they are a good way to do it, but we've all got busy lives. We're all doing a lot of things, and then trying to carve out 6 hours to do like a side project is tough to find the time to do that. So there's also that aspect of it as well. So having the time to be able to commit to doing that sort of thing is also, I would say, it's an inconvenience, and it's a good opportunity for you to show your skill level, but a lot of people can't do that, so it casts a lot of people aside who could have been great at doing the job.
I'll tell you. Go ahead.
So I just grabbed this book off of my shelf. I don't know if you can.
That's
see
the one. That's the one. Yeah, cracking the
So-
code in interview. Yeah.
I pretty much read like 5% of this. So so not
Brilliant,
it's just not important for every job, you know. If you want to work like Fang, you know, Amazon, Netflix, Google, whatever, it's it just doesn't matter, you know. If you can, like, this reminds me of this.
It's about problem solving, isn't it, Eddie?
Posted, I think earlier this week or last week, like, oh, I just did this 4-year degree where they taught me like these algorithms and like breadth first search and big O and whatever, and now I now I got a center a div. You know?
Yeah.
Just, like, if you, especially like if you're a junior developer, like I don't know why I picked this up. I honestly don't. Like, I thought it would matter. I thought, you know, all right, I gotta nail this big O, like time complexity or whatever. I don't even remember. It's been a while. It's space time complexity. It's what it was. Like, if you're doing like most of the HTML, CSS, and like some basic JavaScript, like React, you know, all right, I'm grabbing this data from an API and I'm mapping over it, you know, making it a data structure that I need. You don't need this stuff, honestly. Like, if you've done like 6 hours of free code camp algorithms, you're pretty much there. Not even kidding. You don't need it.
He's right, and I will say this: I've done God knows how many whiteboard coding interviews and assessments and all this and that. Here's my advice when it comes to whiteboard coding. So, like many of you know, I turned down 6 jobs before accepting my job. Every single one of those jobs was a whiteboard coding interview, and I'd say out of those 6, I failed 5 of them. Here's the thing. That what you write is not necessarily what they're looking for. They're looking for you to talk your way through the actual thought process, because if you can at least think in the way they need, you can learn the rest. So one thing with that, I always talk it through. And here's one thing, and people underestimate how damn powerful this is. If you are asked a question and you do not know the answer, I have always said, I don't know. But if you give me enough time, I will research it and find it out. That shows that you're passionate for getting the right answer. They love that. So here's the other thing. Tech is what I like to call black or white. If you try to bullshit your way through an answer, everyone knows you have zero idea what you're talking about. Like, I can tell you, like, there's no area where someone can ask you, can you do a fizz buzz? And you're like, well, yeah, you should start with this and this and this. They're going to know exactly right away that you have no fucking clue. But if you say very confident,
if you ask me right now to do a fizz buzz, I'll be like, I've got to Google it.
There's 100% rate of failure for me right now to try and do that. But honestly, if you just are very honest and say, I don't know, but I will research it if you give me enough time, that will go a long way. So make sure that you're not putting all your stock. It is important, though, to know your data structures and all that, because that's basically what companies want, unfortunately. But go ahead.
Sorry, man. Sorry. This is what I was saying earlier about just-in-time learning. So you could learn all of this stuff. You could, people who say, I'm going to spend 3 weeks learning CSS, 2 weeks learning HTML, 4 weeks learning JavaScript, and I'll get a job. And it's, you could learn all that. You could learn it all thoroughly and know it. But if you don't use it day in, day out, and you're not sort of reinforcing what you've learned over time, that information goes. Like I could say the same for, when I was picking up Node, Python. I mean, I'm an ex-VBA developer. I couldn't tell you how to do anything in VBA right now. It just goes. So, that sort of stuff. What I found is, if like what you were saying, Danny, about if you don't know something, to say you don't know it, but you will find out the answer, and you'll do the work to do it. And I think that's why I got my job where I am at the moment. It's like, I was up front, I was like, no, but I can find out. I can, I can work my way around it, and hopefully I've got colleagues that are going to help me, work with me to do this problem. So that's the thing. I mean, if you're a solo dev, then obviously great communities, Twitter, Free Code Camp, Reddit. I'll tell you what, I found out about Free Code Camp from Reddit. So thank you, Reddit. Obviously, Stack Overflow. Just don't ask any questions. These are all great resources to find your way to work your way through a problem. And I think Caitlin posted like a GIF the other day of him sort of finishing a bug and like closing like 16 sort of browser tabs. That's web dev. I mean, there was a time, back in the 90s where you'd have paper with like books like this, and they'd know every page of it, and that was their information. It wasn't for sharing, and they knew how to do the thing. So it was very gatekeepery. It was but times have changed, and now everyone just shares stuff freely. And these days, I mean, the information's there if you want it, but seriously, who's got time? Who's got time for that? Jesus, I mean, right. So this is what I mean about if there's something which you come up against and you're not skilled in it, then get skilled in it, learn it, and I don't mean to sound it like as blasé as that, but just get enough information to do the thing. Do the thing. That's what I call it at work. So and just if it just sounds really sort of YOLO developer, but in a lot of situations, there's a lot of things you haven't come up against before, which you will need to learn. So I don't know how else to phrase it. I mean, just get good at learning stuff which you don't know, but don't learn a load of stuff you don't need to use. I mean, I asked about jQuery. I was like, should I learn jQuery? And Peter was saying, well, what are you going to be working in? I was like, well, I want to work in React. They're like, well, I don't think you're going to need jQuery. So I just didn't bother with it. But there's legacy code bases. There's always legacy code bases, right? But they've got jQuery in it. So I'm like, oh, what's this? I've never seen this before. Google it, find out. Make it do the thing. Yeah. Sorry, Danny's giving me such a dirty look. Sorry, Danny. I mean,
not you. I'm not giving no dirty looks. Mark, what do you think?
Doing what?
Does that sound entitled? Does it sound? I think. I don't want to sound entitled by that, but that's how I've made my career. I mean, like I said, I didn't have a college degree. I got into where I was working as like a temporary contractor, and they just saw that I could do stuff with code, and they were happy with it, so they took me on full time. So I'm sort of a chancer, really, but I found that I can learn what I need to learn at the time when I need to learn it, and I'm a bit, I wouldn't say finicky, but I like to know where I should be spending my time, my resources, basically on what to learn. So I always have to make a decision on, is it worth my time to learn this right now or when it comes up?
Yeah, exactly. Like for me personally, like the last 4 years have pretty much like all been front end. Like 4 years of like during my college, they taught me a bunch of stuff. Well, they tried at least. So, but I decided, all right, I'm gonna get so good at front end that I'm gonna get like a pretty awesome job right out of the gate. I want to be good at something so I can offer value. But like it all comes down to, all right, do I actually need to learn this? Do I like a couple weeks ago? I saw on Twitter some people talking about this new React state management library.
Recoil.
Why should yeah, exactly, that's the one. Why should I care? I've been using React state management libraries for quite a while now. Mainly my current job, Apollo GraphQL client, because we do a lot with GraphQL. But like I'm not even sure what kind of problem Recoil solves. I haven't really checked it out yet, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're doing fine and nobody is asking you to like learn something, and you don't need it, right? Why should you spend your entire weekend learning it? And to get back to interviews, because we're sort of going on a tangent here, but right. What I wanted to actually talk about was, because we started about talking about like, all right, maybe in an interview you shouldn't pretend like you know stuff you don't, right? That's how we got here. So a while ago, actually exactly a year ago, pretty much at this point, when I was looking for my next job, I interviewed at this company. I'm like fresh out of college, almost, right? Pretty much. And I interviewed at this company that typically only hires senior developers. And I attended their meetups. There we go again. That's why I got the interview. And they asked me this question about JWT, JSON Web Tokens, right? And like I said, I've mainly done front end for pretty much 4 years at this point. And they asked me, what is a JWT? What's a JSON Web Token? Why do people use it? What can you do with it? How does it work? And during the interview, I basically said, all right, I'm going to be upfront. I don't know what the hell this is. I've heard about it. I'm aware that it's used for authentication and stuff like that. But here is how I think that it works. And the interviewer, he said, all right, after I was done talking, I very much respect you being honest about this. I know that you've been doing front end for the most part, and you've actually he said, all right, that's pretty accurate, but that's not entirely how it works. And then he explained it to me. But like, you don't want to lie during your interview, because if your like next job is like based upon the lies that you told in an interview, you're in for a bad time. I'm gonna tell you right now. Like if you're lying, all right, yeah, dude. Oh, I've been doing WordPress for like 67 years, and it's great. I've built so much stuff with it. I've basically
it has been around for that long, by the way, 67 years.
Right. So
Doesn't matter.
but like the thing is, I've never worked in WordPress, right? So why would I say that? I would basically shoot myself in the foot on like day one of the job. Like, all right, Eddy, here you go. We have this client. We're gonna onboard you on the project, but after that, you're gonna build this like plugin, or you're gonna build a web page for them in WordPress. And like, if I told them in my interview, like, all right, I know WordPress, 67 years of experience. Of course, I can do that easy. But then on the job, oh shit, I don't know anything about WordPress. How are you gonna explain yourself? It's just setting yourself up for failure. It's also, of course, dishonest. And like, what if, if you're living in like a small country where most companies know each other, right? What if that company mentions like, all right, this Eddy guy has been lying. He's been full of shit this entire time. We hired him, and he doesn't know anything, right? So
time to move to a bigger country, bro. Just move to a bigger country.
Exactly.
Are you talking about Luxembourg?
Now I gotta move to.
Are you bashing on us again?
Because I was full of shit during my interview. It's just like, just be honest, because that's what it comes down to. Like, if you're lying in your interview, and like that's what gets you the job, yeah, like, all right, great, you got like a paycheck for like a couple months, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if it gets to that point, but
yeah,
at some
that's
point
the thing.
they're gonna
You shouldn't do that, because they're gonna find out pretty quick, aren't they?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Unless you're like really talented at like learning new things, but then again, why would you just? You should talk about that. If you're that good at like learning new things, you should say that in your interview. Like, I can learn like React in like 26 minutes, and now I'm like a pro, right?
I'd like to see it. And when you were saying, and I take you, a day or two to go through the React documentation, like, really? I mean, I don't think it's that big, but I don't think I've actually sat down and read through all the React documentation.
Yeah, me neither.
The thing is, just like there's enough resources out there, and people's other takes on it as well, which I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm really ashamed to admit I don't think I've actually sat down and read all of the React documentation. I think a good question to answer, Mark, would be from Manish about how to contribute to open source.
I'm gonna be right back.
Okay,
how to contribute to open source? One of you guys contributed to open source? Because I haven't.
Manish has asked a question. One more question: how to start contributing on open source projects? Even there you go. Making some complex projects. When your open source profile and look at issues, you don't know where to start.
I have one thing about this. Like, I don't have personal experience in it. I never contributed to, well, once, but I'll come to that later. A talk in the Vue.js Amsterdam this year, a guy was talking about he was in Bootstrap or Bootstrap Vue project, and he said like he started with like just correcting typos, and then like like starting with the smallest stuff you can find, and then like do a little bit more and a little bit more. And some projects have like this tasks assigned, good for newcomers or good
first issue. Good first issue. Yeah,
good first issue. That would be great to start, but the only contribution I made was like port a theme to Prism, but that was like not really fixing a bug or plugging into something. It was just like writing another theme. And
this is the thing. It's not adding complex features or rewriting whole things. It is just as simple as typos, adding stuff to the documentation, because there's been stuff which like projects which I've used, and I was like, well, the first thing you go to is the README in a GitHub project, and you follow that to get started. And if that doesn't reflect what you're doing, how you access an API, or how you sort of how you use something, then it's misleading. And you want to, I mean, personally, I've had it happen to me a couple of times where I've had to just say, look, this isn't how I did it. I did it this way, or I fixed it like this. It doesn't have to be with pull requests either, or issues. Just I mean, there was one for Yarn the other day, which I commented on an issue from like 2 years ago, where yarn wasn't showing on Bash. So you tried run yarn and it said it didn't recognize the command. And it was just simply pointing yarn to your bash RC file. And I found the issue and I said, look, for the next person who comes here and finds this, just do this. And then literally the next day I had someone saying, yeah, thank you. Just come across this. Thank you so much for doing this. So, it's not all about, pull requests or adding issues and things like that. It's just things in that respect as well. I mean, granted, they won't show on your GitHub profile because you're just adding to an issue, but you're contributing back to the community for the next person who comes along with that issue. I mean, that's like 95% of why I do most of the posts I do in my digital garden. It's just to say, I worked out this thing. This is how I did it. Just for the next person who's like, well, how do you do this? I've got stuck on this bit. And that's why, I post stuff like that online, just so people know how they can get around that situation. So, but that's totally not about contributing to GitHub, but that's about the community, really, rather than just doing stuff on GitHub.
One thing I'll say about open source, I don't think anyone that isn't ready should jump into that because that's a whole bag of worms. Now, I've done open source plenty of times, especially for like Hacktoberfest, but I would suggest, especially if you're a beginner, focus on what you need to focus on first. Once you become a little bit higher level and more comfortable making applications, then go that route. But don't rush into it because you're going to be confused. You're going to make some code that you think is awesome and then realize it sucks, and they're going to tell you and it's going to crush your dreams or whatever. Take your steps. There's no reason to rush into it because it's the buzz thing to do. Just focus on what you're doing.
But then you learn from that, don't you, Danny? I guess.
I mean, we always learn when we fail, and I'm a huge believer in you need to fail. I love failing because failing, in my opinion, failing to me is just removing one obstacle out of my way on my path to success. So I love failing and I love to fail. But I do think people hear people talk about open source and they jump into it way too early to where, number one, they don't even know what they're contributing to. So that's another thing. If you can't read the code and figure out what's going on, you don't need to be really contributing to that just yet. You need to at least read the code and visualize what's happening here. So until you can proficiently read other people's code, don't look at contributing to open source. And then I think if you know how to read someone else's code, then at that point you're going to already know how to contribute to open source. They kind of go hand in hand there. So until you can do one proficiently, don't jump into the other.
Right. And just to add to that, like contributing to open source is like a really awesome goal, right? It's especially if you haven't had a job yet, it's a great way to like, all right, here is how I worked in this team of people on the internet. It's like it's open source, but it's still a team, right? It's not exactly like a job, but like at a job, if you're doing Git with pull requests, it's pretty similar. But the thing is, like Danny said, if you're not familiar with the code, or like if you can't read it, it's gonna be tough, right? So at my current job, we do quite a bit of open source. We have a bit of closed source, of course, but we also have open source. And it took me quite a while to even get familiar with the project that is open source, even though I work on it at least 8 hours a day, right? So it's it of course it depends on the skill of the project, but it's not easy. So if you're like trying to get a job, it might just be better to do a couple projects yourself and then maybe jump into like a smaller projects on open source if you really want to do that. But like if you want to like create your first I don't know, Hello World, and then your to-do application, and then you want to like jump into open source for Vue, TypeScript, or React. That's like a major jump, right? So it's just way too complex. There's probably like too much things that you even need to learn. Honestly, if you're trying to get a job, open source is great. Like if you can do it, I would definitely recommend it. Of course, it's not like it's a great like plus on your resume. It's a great like buzzword to have on there too. Yeah. But it like open source is great, but if you can just do like projects and do Git properly, like have your own projects where you do you have your master branch and your development branch and maybe a couple feature branches that you work on yourself, and like just do it that way, like they do in pretty big open source projects, then you're golden, then you can start working a job. And if you just know Git properly, that's next to the code that you work with, for example JavaScript, HTML, CSS in front end, that's pretty much all you need, really.
So can I just talk about a good way to get used to collaborating and working with other team members on GitHub?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's something called Chingu. It's chingu.io, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it's still going. Just posted the link to the website in the chat.
Where in the chat?
Yeah, I'm not seeing
like,
it.
Yeah, that's the second time you said you posted a link. I'm like, where is it?
Yeah, same thing for me.
On YouTube, because I can't post it in the. How do you post it in the chat?
Maybe
you post it in the private chat.
It.
I think there's a slight delay, like 1 or 2 minutes.
So I've got the YouTube chat and I've got the StreamYard chat.
I don't think you can post a link without something before it. I think if you just post a link, it blocks that, like spam filter.
Yeah,
Chingu.
It's exactly what you said, Danny. It's like the second time that he's mentioned a link in the chat, but like the last time I was looking for it, but I didn't see it. So it looks like, all right, maybe I'm blind. Maybe I'm blind. But
did the last link go? No, I think I replied to someone and said here. So I gave like Austin's. Right, it's fine. Let's just put Austin's thing on there again, because you guys are posting.
Hold on.
In YouTube, right?
Hold on. I'm going to post a link, and you tell me if you see it in the chat.
I've been posting all this time. No one's been seeing my post.
No.
This?
That's in the private though. Like
that's it. Yeah. No, I literally just put that in the private, but it's not chingu.com. It's chingu.io, isn't it? Let's go back to. Yeah, chingu.io. That's it. I posted it in the YouTube chat. So anyway,
yeah. See, my link didn't come through because I see it didn't show. Go figure.
Can you see it now?
I guess no link will show in the chat.
It's on screen now. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I just posted a link just to see if it goes through. I posted my YouTube channel link just to see if it'll go through, and it's not visible at all.
Yeah. Doesn't work.
So can you see the bit where I've said Chingu and then I've got the link behind it?
Well, he put it on our screen. Like if you look at our chat video.
So I'm just thinking about everyone else. Can they see it or?
I'm not seeing it.
No.
All right. Okay. So anyway, Chingu.io. Right. That was I did it twice, I think. And this was what gave me the confidence to start applying for roles outside of what I was doing currently. In this, you get put in a team with 5 to 8 other developers, and you decide on building a project. So you're all separate. You're all working remotely and distributed. That's what I was trying to say. You all work on a problem together. So you find out a means to communicate with each other, like Slack or Google Hangouts, and then you talk about what you're going to build. And then you start off a GitHub project as a team, and you work through your issues. You build. It gives you a really good idea of how to work on GitHub and work in a team at the same time. And from the people I was working with, I learned so much in such a short time that I was like, right, okay, if I'm going to learn what I need to learn, I need to be on a team doing this sort of thing all the time. Which was one of the main reasons, the main things I was asking when I was interviewing is like, who am I working with? What's my team like? Do we pair program? Things like this, just so I knew I'd be getting the education I needed out of the role and for the stuff I'd be giving back as well. So I thought it was fantastic, and I would recommend it to anyone if it's still valid and they're still running. I think they are. So it is, if you want to get involved in open source, just build a Chingu project. It doesn't have to be great. It gives you a really good feel for how to do things on a team. So that's fun, having to come up with branching strategies and how you're going to work through issues and assigning stuff to people. It's always good. So it's a good experience, I would say, and a good way to get introduced to GitHub. I mean, I guess you could do it with Bitbucket as well. But yeah, it's great. I definitely recommend it.
Cool.
All right.
So, were there more questions?
I'm gonna have to wrap up my end.
Danny.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's very nice meeting you in person, my friend.
It's nice to be met, my friend.
Thank you for all you do on Twitter. Everyone loves you, so thank you so much.
I do have some, really phenomenal followers and it sounds so weird to even say shit like that. Like, oh, my followers are so awesome, but I never thought I would have followers. I've only been doing this for a couple months, so I just got on there and just started talking. Apparently, people like it. Never thought that would be the case, but go figure. One thing I'll say before I leave, because it's lunchtime and my whole family is waiting for me. Are
you the cook? Are you the cook? I'm the cook in my house. I'm the cook. I cook all the food. So
in my house, my wife is a phenomenal chef. Once she cooked me dinner, I realized very quickly that I needed to put a ring on it because like she was phenomenal in so many things, and then you add that on top of it. I knew my fat heart would never run out of food to fall in love with. So that was something there. And I always say, I didn't get fat by eating bad food, right? Like, we eat really great stuff. So, but one thing for me, and I know we have a bunch of beginner developers on here, so I just kind of want to say something. The reason why I even took this path was like my idea of what failure is. And I always love asking people what their idea of failure is, because for me, it was waking up every single morning and then I was doing something that I just didn't want to do. And for me, when you're in that moment, that is failing. And I never wanted to fail after realizing that, because life is so short. Like, it is incredibly short. Like, you're here today and you're gone today. Like, there's no indefinite time limit. The only guarantee that we all have on this chat, whether we're texting it or we're talking about it, is we're going to be leaving this earth one way or another. And I don't want to leave it being miserable doing something that I don't want to do, because it's going to be there. And then on top of that, I don't want to be miserable not making money and then doing what I don't want to do. Like, I don't want to be broke, miserable, and waking up going to work every single day when I don't want to do that. So find what you want to do. And if that's tech, then awesome. I want to support you on that. And if you realize, hey, coding sucks and I'd rather be working in hardware, then that's awesome too. Or if you realize, shit, construction is where I want to be, I want to support that as well. I want to support you. I say that all the time. I want to support you, whatever it may be. And it brings me back to this amazing idea. And this kind of like changed my life. Let's assume for a second that you're on your deathbed, like your time has come and you're going to go. And surrounding you are the ghost of your intelligence, the ghost of your ideas, the ghost of your tenacity, the ghost of your abilities. And for whatever reason, you never tapped into them. And they're there surrounding you. And they're staring at you with these large, angry eyes. And finally, they say, we came to you. And only you could have given us life. And for whatever reason, you never did. And now we must die for you to die with you forever. So if you were to die today, what abilities, what intelligence, what tenacity will go with you? The same idea. What are you not tapping into and denying the world because you haven't brought it to life? What are you denying everyone around you that you haven't created and brought to fruition as of now? Whatever that is, let's tap into it. Let's bring it to life and let's make it happen. Scott's
the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. The hairs on the back of my neck are standing up, yo. Right? And
like, I mean, it's a real idea.
I'm going to sleep now. Thanks, Danny. I'm not going to sleep tonight. I'll be up in bed like this.
I mean, like if you really do think about that, like it really changed my life thinking about that. Like, what am I not tapping into that I could be tapping into? And
why are you doing development? Why aren't you selling shit on TV, man? Fucking hell.
I mean, I was in sales for a long time, you know. I was in sales for a long time. But really, if you think about it, like if you have a great idea, like you have this idea that either it's a website or it's a product or whatever it may be, but you have this idea. By you just keeping it in your mind and not creating it, you've denied everyone in this room right now your idea. You've denied me the pleasure of being able to experience the idea that you have. So why are you denying me this? And just go out there and make it happen. Because if you make it happen, we can all celebrate in your success. We can all get to celebrate your idea. And who knows, that idea may be the one thing that I'm looking for that I don't know I realize yet.
I feel it.
No pressure. No pressure. Go make it now. Make it. Go do it now.
I mean, see, sometimes people have these great ideas and they just need that little push to go do it. And I mean, maybe someone needs that. And I always say when I'm talking, I'm not really talking to anyone in particular. I'm talking to the one person somewhere. I'm talking to someone somewhere that I made up in my head that needed to hear this. And it's really me that needed to hear this several years ago. And I'm just talking. When I make my tweets, that's who I'm talking to. When I'm talking like this, that's who I'm talking to.
Yeah. I do. If I write anything, it's either for past Scott, for future Scott. So it's when I'm like, because I got this whole website, chickseats.xyz, and it's basically anything that goes in there is stuff I've forgotten, and I have to go back to it.
And in case you were confused by what he just said, it wasn't XYZ, it's XYZ and Freedom Talk. So, you know, if you're in America and you didn't know what that was, I just explained that for you. All right, guys.
Freedom Talk.
I do have to get off of here. This was a blast. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Lovely meeting you, Danny. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Danny.
And to touch on one last thing, I always say it's great when someone amplifies you instead of you amplifying yourself. Mark is a phenomenal talk and developer. Yes. Eddy is fantastic when it comes to JavaScript. Scott is all right in other things. So make sure you follow them on social media. Make sure you follow them. I highly, highly recommend them. And if you find some time, come check me out on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, all the same D Thompson Dev. And make sure you check out my podcast, Commit Your Code, where I get to interview some of the most phenomenal people in tech and talk about their journeys into it. Definitely check that out. Other than that, absolutely loved it. Enjoyed this. Enjoy your whiskey. I'll drink tonight thinking of you, but for now, I'll stick to water. And I'm done.
Have a good one, Danny. See you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Bye, Danny.
Have a good one.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh man, how big is my head? Jesus. There's 3 columns, man. It's just my whole forehead was just like in one column. Right.
Yeah, I think we wrap it up. It's been 2 hours. Pretty.
I know.
Oh damn.
2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours already.
Yeah, but still 23 viewers. So thank you for everyone who stayed this long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I hope
gotta
you
wrap
got
up?
something out of it.
Yeah. We're gonna wrap up.
Yeah, we wrap up. So thanks everyone for joining. I hope you like the energy, especially Danny's.
Yeah. There's no point in going on now. So Danny's gone. That's it.
The energy left. So
Yeah. That's it. That's it.
So I end the broadcast now, and follow us on Twitter, and we can keep talking there.
And subscribe to Mark on YouTube where you're watching this right now.
Where?
Somewhere here is a subscribe button.
Yeah, subscribe to the freaking.
That's not my Twitter handle. Anyway.
Okay.
All right, guys. Peace out. Nice to see you again.
Scott. Thanks.
Yeah,
Eddy.
man. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you around.
Right.
Bye.
Later, guys.
Bye.